I imagine that it is unique to have a 30-something-year-old as a part of an older adults task force in the Episcopal Church. I confess that when I got the phone call asking me if I would be a part of the task force, I really was confused why they wanted me. But in many respects, being a part of this task force has given me a gift. It has given me the gift of seeing another part of the church and of becoming part of a discussion that needs to happen, that is very much fundamentally based on who we are as Episcopalians. Our theology and who we are comes from the baptismal covenant, and the baptismal covenant shapes who we are as a people. And because of our calls within the baptismal covenant, we are called to respond to the breadth of the gift of the entire body of Christ, which is a body that exists from cradle to grave. I think that being a part of the task force has probably given me more gifts than I've given them. It has given me the gift of seeing a reality. It is not uncommon to be sitting on a church committee and being the youngest person there. But this task force has given me a new dialogue and a real concept of church as the Episcopal Church as an incredibly unique place. That it is the one place every week where I encounter the entire body of Christ. No place else in a week do I do that. I didn't grow up in a family where any of the adults became particularly infirm. They all lived very long into their 80s and 90s, and most of them never had to deal with particular health problems at all. They didn't deal with many mobility problems. The Task Force on Older Adult Ministries has a wide range of adults who might fit into a few more of the teenage stereotypes of walkers or needing the use of supplemental oxygen, but also older adults who wouldn't fit anybody's stereotypes of what an older adult is. They have a true gift of wisdom. Betsy in particular, who offers great wisdom most of the time she opens her mouth, and shows me really how someone can, with great grace, deal with some physical challenges. I had my 35th birthday this summer, and someone said to me, "So what anniversary of your 29th birthday is this?" And I realized I got really angry and frustrated with the concept that I would be in any way embarrassed or not acknowledge how long I've been on the earth. It seems in some ways silly to not enjoy the gift of time that I've been given and the gift of wisdom that I've gotten from 35 years on the planet and that I've gained from people of all ages.
Grandparents are raising grandchildren much more in this day and age to an extent that I believe has not been seen before. And I think a lot of that and that is definitely a situation, and I won't say a problem because I don't want to be negative all the time, but it definitely is a situation in the poor and minority community. It's related to drugs, where parents are strung out. It's related to incarceration. A lot of the incarceration is around drugs. It's related to a need to find a situation so that parents can work. So grandparents who are retired are spending a lot of time caregiving. The bottom line thing that I think is a problem around this issue is that grandparents have done this and they're tired. Their physical, psychological, and spiritual resources are really drained because it takes a lot of time, energy, and self-esteem to start all over and do these kinds of things again. On the other hand, when we find people that are doing this and doing it for really significant periods of time, they have a real love for what they're doing and for their family, and they wouldn't think of doing anything else. But that does not mean that they don't need help. And here again, that it's a caregiving situation, not necessarily because of illness or age, but the grandparents are aged, so they do need help.
Connecting with other generations is interesting, and I must say I've been rudely awakened that in my age group we have, if the 50 and above, we have 3 generations, and I hadn't thought of that. But when I think of the younger generations and intergenerational work, one experience that I had really comes to my mind, and that was when I first moved. I moved into Friendship Terrace, which is a retirement community for active seniors in Washington, D.C., and we had some volunteers available, and of course I had, well, too many boxes, and you know how it is, and I was busy unpacking them, and I got some volunteer help, and my volunteer was this young high school senior. Well, it was in August, and he was just going into his senior year, and in the course of his helping me unpack and put things on shelves, we got into some dialogue about things. I was still driving, and I was going to have to get my car registered and my driver's license and all those things. So we had this nice heart-to-heart chat about getting a driver's license. He gave me advice on which station to go to, and we talked about the process in the District of Columbia. And then he sat down and he reflected that, and it was probably one of the most meaningful moments I've ever had. He reflected that if you're under 18 and over 65 in the district, it's harder to get your license. And suddenly we had a link because we both were under the gun from the district about things related. And at that time, the district was going to really start the next year enforcing some very strict requirements on people who were over, I think it was 70, 75. That was an interesting comparison, and one that I really value and treasure in terms of insight into. Suddenly we had a link and a common attacker, so to speak, the district.
Older adults certainly represent a model of ministry and giving that we should hold up in our churches, and is a great model. Older adults also in many churches are extremely supportive of younger people. Their morale tends to be higher when they're in congregations with a stronger youth presence. They want to see our church thrive and continue.